The following matchup is being played with History Maker Baseball Express, a fast-playing baseball simulation board game, a property of Play Games LLC, copyright 2022, all rights reserved. Welcome to today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. In today's episode, it may be Rivalry Weekend coming up this weekend, but for this week, why not we take things to the max as we present our own version of Rivalry Weekend with the first of 4 weeks for the History Maker Baseball Express Hour of Rivalry Week. With that being said, we kick off our first Rivalry Week with our latest edition of Rivalry Night, featuring the 2016 Chicago White Sox and the 2016 Chicago Cubs as they go at it in our version of their Crosstown Cup rivalry. Who will walk away from this matchup and with the cup? Well, I guess you're going to have to tune in to find out because game one is coming up next. But first, let's have a look and say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of Rivalry Night as part of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. We would like to take time to say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. This episode, first of all, is being brought to you by your favorite Bitty Beer products. And again, if you choose to drink Bitty Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. Hey, it's a blend of hops, rice, and barley that gives Bitty Beer its taste. But we know better. It's our brewing process that gives our beer that one-of-a-kind flavor that no premium beer can match. Our vats have never been cleaned. There's an itty-bitty bit of history in every can. Bitty Beer, the beer for folks who can't afford better. And by Doc Cola, the official cola drink of the Play Games community. Doc Cola uses finest ingredients to bring you that sugary blast of caffeine you've come to know and love. Twice the sugar and 3 times the caffeine of any other major. Doc Cola is sure to keep fired up from dawn till dusk. Take the Doc Cola challenge. See why our customers agree you'll never be able to wean yourself from a refreshing Doc Cola. And by Pizza Kingdom, the official pizza joint of the Play Games community. Pizza Kingdom, our signature New York style pizza, starts with crust. Then we layer on our homemade pizza sauce and load your pizza up with mounds of cheese. When it comes out of the oven, piping hot, golden brown, and ready for you to enjoy. Then we give the majestic culinary work of art to Mikey, our 16-year-old delivery driver who has responsible as a tree. Pizza Kingdom, it's sheer perfection. Left the store. And by Suncoast Capital Banks. At Suncoast Capital, we live by one simple rule of investing. When our clients win, we win. When our clients lose, we win. Suncoast Capital, you know we're going to get all of your money anyway. And by Rubicon Wireless. Why pay $200 a month for wireless service when you get 4 lines for just $25 a month? With our tin can plan, you can access our wireless network that covers at 25% of coast to coast between the hours of 11 p.m. and 4:30 a.m. Unlimited text and messaging those hours, of course. So why overpay for services you cannot live out? Rubicon Wireless. In honor of Rivalry Week, Rivalry Weekend coming up in Major League Baseball, why don't we have our own rivalry set of rivalry weeks here on the History Maker Baseball Express Hour? Our first week is going to feature a heck of a lot of crosstown rivals. Our first matchup will be from the 2016 season, as it will be featuring the Crosstown Cup between the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago White Sox. Your starting pitching matchup for game one is going to be none other than Jose Quintana going for the Cubs and John Lester going for the Jose Quintana going for the White Sox and John Lester going for the Cubs. With that being said, let's get this rivalry week underway for this week of Crosstown Rivals as part of Rivalry Week for the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. Fowler is ready, and so are we. Let's get rolling for the first game of 3 here for this edition of Rivalry Night as part of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. 115 to begin this rivalry week for Crosstown Rivals. Of struggler pitcher on Quintana, no. Utility on Fowler, that is a negative. Therefore, that's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. And it looks like Quintana does have flash. So therefore, that one will be reduced to a big fat 0. And it will be a no runs result of a 5 dot to end the top half of the first here at Guaranteed Rate Field with your score with the Cubs nothing and the White Sox coming to bat. One, 2, 6. Struggler or gilded pitcher on John Lester. That is a negative. Hero batter on Eaton. He's a semi-hero. The decider die says he's not, though. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result. Yes, no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Adam Eaton does not have a home run king or slugger, so that is going to be all she wrote for the first inning of play with a no runs result of a 1 dot. And that is going to do it for the first inning here at the ballpark. The score is Cubs nothing and the White Sox nothing. Two, 3, 6. Struggler or gilded on Quintana? No. Sad sack on Hayward? No. That's going to be an RBI check. And yes, sir, the Cubs are not only going to take the lead, but they're going to take the lead in a huge way because the black die is a 6. And whenever the RBI question mark result comes up, and the black die is a 6, and the decider die says a dot, it's not only 1 RBI, it's 2 RBIs. So the Cubs, courtesy of Jason Hayward, will lead this one here for game 1 as the Cubs take the early lead 2-1. Or 2-0 as we head to the bottom half of the second. 5, 5, 6. Star pitcher on Lester? No. Hero batter on Tim Anderson? He is a hero batter. Therefore, that's going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Tim Anderson is a neutral runner. So that 5 is going to stay put in the runners on at second and third for Jose Abreu off the men on base chart. 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. And of course, we're in the first freshness innings. So John Lester is considered fresh. He will get the ground out to keep the score at a 2-0 lead for the Chicago Cubs after 2 innings of play. Two, 3, 3. 2, 3, 3. Here we are. Ace pitcher on Quintana? No. Utility on Bryant? No. That is going to be a 2, 3. Oh, I read the wrong one. Sorry. 2, 3, 3. Here we are. Ace pitcher on Quintana? No. Champion on Bryant? No. That is going to be a no runs result of a 2-dot, and that is going to smell the end of the inning for the Cubs. And your score is still Cubs 2, White Sox nothing here in Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 126. Struggler or Gilded on Lester? No. Hero batter on Frazier? No. That is going to end up being a 126. Struggler Gilded? No. Hero batter on Frazier? No. That's going to be a no runs result. 126. Yes. No runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Todd Frazier does have home run king, so therefore that is going to be hit high, far, and gone. The White Sox are on the board. It's now Cubs 2, White Sox nothing. Or excuse me, Cubs 2, White Sox 1. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. We go to the fourth by that score with Anthony Rizzo up at the dish. 222. Oh, this is 222. So this is going to be a ballpark check. So we're at Guaranteed Rate Field. And let me just roll the number here. We'll roll the white die for this one. We have a 4. Is it a big ballpark? Let me double check here. Guaranteed Rate Field is the site of Game 1. As the Guaranteed Rate Field, we ask, was a 4 a big ballpark? We have a left-handed batter up at the dish. It is unfortunately a small ballpark. So therefore, that is going to be a flyout to end the inning here for the Cubs. So nothing doing from Rizzo's at bat. And therefore, that is going to do it. As we head to the bottom half of the fourth, the Cubs still lead it 2-1. 115. Struggler on Lester? No. Utility on Melky Cabrera? No. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. John Lester has flash, so that 5 will be reduced to a 4. Put in runners at the corners for Brett Lawrie. And will take his turn off the men on base chart of a 56. Patient batter draws the walk. Brett Lawrie is not patient, so therefore that's going to be a contact result. And I usually roll the red die for this. We have a 1. We check for a flash against a whiffer pitcher first, and it seems, yes, we do. So therefore, the decider die will take this roll for the decider die, and yes, it will be a strikeout. So therefore, that is going to smell the end of the inning. It will be a strikeout to end the inning for the Cubs, and after for the White Sox, and after the first 4 innings of play, the Cubs lead the White Sox here in Game 1 of this Crosstown Rivalry Week as part of Rivalry Night. This Rivalry Night series is part of Crosstown Rivals for this first week. For this first rivalry week of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour, the score is Cubs 2, White Sox 1. We have a 4-4-6. That is going to be star pitcher on Star pitcher on Quintana. Yes, Quintana has star. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 4-dot. And that is going to smell the end of the inning here in the top half of the 5th. The Cubs still lead it 2-1. It is a close game, but we head to the bottom half of the 5th with Avisail Garcia up at the dish. 256. Workman pitcher on Lester? No. Satsack on Garcia? No. That is going to be a men on base result, -1 for the black die if flash. Lester, he does have flash, so therefore that 6 will be reduced to a 5. Put in the runners on at second and third for Deanna Navarro off the men on base chart. We have a 24. Gold fielder makes the out. Oh, Jorge Soler is not gold. So therefore, that is going to be an error. It'll be first and third. A run will score for the White Sox, tying things up. And it will bring up JB Shuck off the men on base chart. So credit an error by Soler. And we will bring up JB Shuck to bat off the men on base chart. 56. Patient batter draws the walk. Shuck is not patient, so therefore that's going to be a contact result of a 6, and it will be a ground out. So that is going to end things here for the first 5 innings of play. And the White Sox tie things with the Cubs. We're all dead even at 2 through 5 innings of play. 1, 2, 3. Workman or struggler on Quintana. That's a negative. Champion on Russell. No. That's going to be a no runs result of a 1 blank. And if that is the end of the night for Quintana, what a way to go out. But the manager says he is still good to go. But we'll see if Quintana can come back out for the 7th. But we do see that bullpen going, as the game is all knotted up at 2 apiece, because neither of these teams really want to make a huge critical mistake to give the other team the lead, especially in a heated rivalry matchup. We head to the bottom half of the 6th inning here at Guaranteed Rate Field. The score is Cubs 2, White Sox 2. 156. Ace pitcher on Lester. He is a semi-ace. The decider die says he is. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result of a 5 blank. And that is going to do it for the first 6 innings of play here in this one. And we do see Jose Quintana trotting back out to the mound as he will face off against the Cubs catcher, David Ross. 1-3-4. Ace pitcher on Quintana. No. Champion on Ross. No. No runs result, and that is probably going to be the end of the night for Jose Quintana. We do see the manager shake the hand of his starting pitcher, and he will not push it further. The bullpen will take it over from here. After 6.5 innings, we go to the stretch. We go to the 7th inning stretch with the score all dead even at 2 apiece. Lester will drop back out to the mound as he will face off against Tim Anderson. 1-1-2. Ace pitcher. He's a semi-ace. However, the decider die says he's not. A sad sack batter on Anderson. He's not. So therefore, that is going to be an RBI check. And it looks like, the decider die says no. So therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of a 1 blank to seal up the first 7 innings of play here for this one. The score after 7 innings is all dead even at 2 apiece between the Cubs and the White Sox. It seems the White Sox are going to bring in a new pitcher from their pen, and we will see who that is after we take this really quick timeout. And it seems that Zach Duke will be the new pitcher for the White Sox, as he will have the full extent of getting the ace quality for this at-bat against Javy Baez. We head to the top half of the 8th. The score is all dead even at 2 between these two crosstown rivals in the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago White Sox. 2-4-4 on Baez. Ace pitcher for Duke. We did say that Duke would get the full extent of the ace quality, and guess what? He has ace no matter what. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result of a 4 and that is going to end the inning here in the top half of the eighth. Jose Abreu is coming up to the dish, but the Cubs are going to go straight to the pen to bring in a new pitcher as John Lester is done for the day. And of course, the Cubs will probably switch catchers, and we will take a quick timeout to allow the position change plus the new pitcher coming in for the pen to take up his warm-up tosses. Timeout. It seems the new catcher will be Wilson Contreras, as he will be in the game and play catch. Will be in the catching position. And Carl Edwards will be the new pitcher for the Cubs. For this at-bat against Jose Abreu, he will have the full extent of getting the full star quality. It is a 2-2 tie between these two crosstown rivals as we enter the bottom half of the eighth inning. 255. Struggler on Edwards. No. Utility on Abreu. No. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. So it looks like Edwards has double flash. So therefore, that 5 will be reduced to a 3. They're going to put the runners on at first and second for the Todd father, Todd Frazier. He will take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 16. Good eye? No, Todd Frazier does not have good eye. So therefore, that is going to be a strikeout to end the eighth inning. Who is going to crack through here between these two crosstown rivals to take game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night? Stay tuned to find out. We head to the ninth with the score all dead even at 2 between the Cubs and the White Sox. One, two, three on Fowler. Workman or struggler on Duke? No. Champion on Fowler. He's not a champion. Therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 1 blank. And that is going to do it for the top half of the ninth. The White Sox have a chance to walk things off. Can they do it? We head to the bottom half of the ninth with the score all dead even at 2 apiece. 166. Ace pitcher on Edwards. No. Satsack on Melky Cabrera. No. That is going to be a men on base result with a men on base. With a base running adjustment. Melky Cabrera is a semi-stoic. He is a stoic runner. Oh my goodness. We are going to go to extra innings, and it will be a no runs result of a 6 blank. Folks, unreal. We're going to go to extra innings here in game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night for this Crosstown Rivals Week as part of our first of many rivalry weeks here for the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. (136) Ace pitcher on Duke. He's a semi-ace. The decider die says he is. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 1. Let's see here. 1 blank. And that is going to do it for the top half of the 10th. We go to the bottom half of the 10th with the White Sox still having a chance to walk things off. 236. Struggler or gilded on Edwards? No. Satsack on Laurie? No. That is going to be an RBI check. And the decider die says, nope, keep playing. We're going to the 11th. It'll be a no runs result of a 2. We go to the 11th. Your score is Cubs 2, White Sox 2. (236) Struggler or gilded on Duke? No. Satsack on Bryant? No. RBI check. The decider die says yes. The Cubs are going to take A 3-2 lead, courtesy of Chris Bryant. The White Sox are now down to their final outs as we go to the bottom of the 11th. Will they extend it? Let's find out right now. 1-4-5. Ace or dynamic? No. Sad sack on Garcia? No. Men on base result, -1 for the black die if flash. Carl Edwards has flash. They're not dead yet, folks. We're moving to the men on base chart for Deoner Navarro as the 4 will be reduced to a 2, putting Garcia out on at second. We go to the men on base chart. 15, oh my goodness. Scrapper hits single. Or excuse me, Scrapper hits double. Deoner Navarro is not a scrapper. That is going to be hit high, hit far, and way gone, and you can put it on the board. Yes! The White Sox are going to walk things off with a 2-run home run for Deoner Navarro as the Sox walk off the Cubs in Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night for this Crosstown Rivalries week. Here for the History Maker Baseball Express Hours, they take it in 11 innings by the final score of 4-3. And we're all set and ready to go for Game 2 of this Rivalry Night series between the Chicago White Sox and the Chicago Cubs, as this Rivalry Night series for this week of Crosstown Rivals for this first rivalry week of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour has made its way to the friendly confines of Wrigley Field as we are going to feature the probables for this Game 2 of Jason Hamill and Carlos Rodon for Game 2 of this Rivalry Night series. The White Sox won in walk-off fashion by a home run by Deoner Navarro by the final of 4-3. Excuse me, I wonder what is going to feature for this time around. Let's find out ourselves as Hamill is ready to go and so is Shuck. Let's get rolling for Game 2 of this Rivalry Night series between the White Sox and the Cubs. 1-3-6. Ace pitcher on Hamill. He's not. Hero batter on Shuck. No. So therefore, that is going to be a no-runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. JB Shuck does not have home run king or slugger printed on his card. So therefore, that is going to be a no-runs result of a 3 blank, and that is going to do it for the first. And that's going to do it after a half inning of play. It's White Sox nothing, and the Cubs are coming to bat in the bottom half of the first inning. 1-2-4. Ace pitcher on Rodon. No. 1-2-4. Here we are. Champion on Rizzo. He is not a champion. So therefore, that is going to be a no-runs result of a 4 dot, and that is going to do it for the first inning of play here at Wrigley Field. The score is a big fat goose egg after an inning of play. 3-3-6. Workman on Hamill. He's not. Sad sack on Eaton. He is not. So therefore, that's going to be an RBI check. And of course, the decider die decides not to behave. As this game remains scoreless, it will be a no-runs result of a 3 dot. And that is going to do it for the first 1.5 innings of play here at Wrigley Field, with the score all dead even at a big fat goose egg. 3-4-5. Star pitcher on Rodon. No. Sad sack on Zobrist? No. That's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die at flash or control. Rodon has flash, and he does have control. So therefore, that 5 will be reduced to a 3. They're going to put the runners on at first and second for Wilson Contreras, the catcher, for this game 2 of this Rivalry Night series. We will take his hacks off the men on base chart of a 36. Active batter gets runners advanced 2 bases single plus a stolen base. Wilson Contreras is a semi-stoic runner, so therefore it will be a contact result. And I usually roll the red die for this. Of a 2. Sad sack? No. The Cubs are going to take the early lead here in the second inning. And after 2 innings, it's Cubs 1, White Sox nothing. Triple twos. Oh, so this is going to be a ballpark check, and we'll roll the white die for this to get our number, and I'll look up the numbers for Wrigley while we're at it. 5. It asks, is Wrigley Field and does Wrigley Field have artificial turf? Wrigley Field does not, according to the ballpark quality. So therefore, it is a grass turf. So therefore, it will be a ground out to top of the third, to end the inning, and the Cubs still hang on to their lead 1-0. 135. Is Rodon an ace pitcher? He is not. Is Soler a champion? He's not. That's going to be a no runs result of a 5 dot. And that is going to do it for the first 3 innings of this contest here for game 2 of this Rivalry Night series as the Cubs lead it over the White Sox 1-0. 445. Here we are. 445. Yes. Workman pitcher on Hamill. No. Hero batter on Abreu. Yes, he is a hero, so therefore that's going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. He is stoic. That 4 will be reduced to a 3. The White Sox are going to play it safe and put the runner on it first and second, and we will hit off to the men on base. We'll go to the men on base chart for the Todd father, Todd Frazier, to take his hacks off the men on base chart of a 13. Fresh or relief pitcher will get the pop out. So again, I play it as 3 full fresh, 3 semi-fresh. For those of you tuning in for the first time here for this season of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour, and according to the decider die, Jason Hamill is still fresh. So therefore, he will get the pop out to end the inning. And after 3.5 innings of play, the Cubs still lead the White Sox 1-0. 233. Ace pitcher on Rodon. No. Is Baez a utility? Excuse me. 233. Is Baez a champion? No, he's not. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result of a 3 dot. And that is going to do it for the first 4 innings of this contest. Your score is still Cubs 1, White Sox nothing. $246. Star pitcher on Hamill. No. On the Milkman, Melky Cabrera, is he a champion? No, he's not. Therefore, it's going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. The black die is not a 6. So therefore, it will be a no runs result of a 4 blank to end it here in the first 4.5 innings of play. The score remains 1-0 in favor of the Chicago Cubs. $256. Workman on Rodon. No. Sad sack on Fowler. No, that is going to be a men on base result. Yes, men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. Rodon has flash. So from bases loaded to second and third, that is going to bring up the that's going to bring up Jason Hayward off the men on base chart. That's going to bring up a 34. Slugger hits double. Unfortunately, Hayward is not a slugger, so therefore it's going to be a single, and 2 more runs are going to come across to score as Hayward gives the Cubs, a 3-0 lead after 5 innings of play. Five, 6. Star pitcher on Hamill. No. Is Brett Laurie a utility batter? He is a semi-utility. The decider die says he is. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Brett Laurie has slugger. So therefore, that is going to be hit high, far, and gone for, yes, 5-6. Utility, yes, semi-utility decider die says yes. So he'll be hit high, far, and gone because Brett Laurie does have slugger, and the White Sox do get on the board. It's Cubs 3, White Sox 1. One, 5-6. Ace pitcher on Rodon. No. Sad sack on Bryant. No. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. Rodon does have flash, so therefore you can't go higher than a 6. So it will be bases loaded for Anthony Rizzo. Can he break this game wide open? Because the Cubs bullpen, the White Sox bullpen, I'm sorry. Yes, the White Sox pen is getting loose down the right field line as we head to the men on base chart. 35, control pitcher. Rodon is a semi-control pitcher. However, the decider die says no. So therefore, that is going to be a walk. Nowhere to put him. It's 4-1. And still, the Cubs extend their lead. And we continue to roll off the men on base chart of a 56. Patient. Zobrist is semi-patient. The decider die says he is. That's going to be another walk. That is going to bring home another run. Nowhere to put him. And that is going to bring up Wilson Contreras off the men on base chart. 23. Eager grounds out. Wilson Contreras is not eager. Keep going station to station. It is 6-1 now in favor of the Cubs as Wilson Contreras gets a walk, and that is going to prompt a visit to the mound by Gianna Navarro, the White Sox catcher, as they want to try to limit the damage here to hopefully get back into this game as Jorge Soler will step up to the plate now off the men on base chart. 12, slugger hits home run. Jorge Soler is not a slugger. That is going to be a single. 2 runs are going to come across to score. The runner on third will score, and the runner on second will score. So 2 runs come home. The runner on third will go to the runner on first will go to third, and nothing more. The Cubs break this game, break the Hoover Dam wide open as they now lead it over the White Sox 8-1. Jason Hamill is back out there to hopefully finish his last inning of work here for this one with a 1-3-4. Ace pitcher for Hamill, no. Champion on Navarro, no. That is going to be a no runs result of a 3 dot, and that is going to take us to the stretch. And while these fine folks sing a beautiful rendition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game, Wrigley style, we're going to take a quick timeout as the White Sox are going to bring in a new pitcher from their bullpen. Timeout. And it seems the new pitcher for the Chicago White Sox will be Dan Jennings, as he will have the full extent use of the ace and flash qualities for this for his outing here. But for this at bat against Javy Baez, Jennings will have the full extent use of the double flash quality. With that being said, the score is Cubs 8, White Sox 1. 466. Workman pitcher on Jennings. No. Hero batter on Baez. He's a semi-hero. The Decided Eye says he is. So therefore, that is going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Baez is a neutral runner. That 4 is going to stay put by putting the runners on at first and third, runners at the corners for Dexter Fowler. And he will take his hacks off the men on base chart of a 36. Active batter gets runners advance 2 bases single plus a stolen base. Fowler is not an active runner, so therefore that is going to be a contact result. And I usually roll the red die for this. All right, so first we need to check for a whiffer versus flash pitcher. We have a semi-whiffer versus a flash pitcher. According to the Decider die, Dexter Fowler is a whiffer batter. So therefore, we need a roll here. Yes, it will be a strikeout to end things here for the top half of the 8th. The bottom half of the 7th. The Cubs still hang on by their large run by 7 runs, 8-1 over the White Sox. (116) Struggler on Hamill. Hamill is back out there, hopefully to give the pen some more extra time to warm up. Struggler, no. Utility on Shuck, yes. So therefore, 116. That is going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Shuck does not have home run king or slugger. So that is going to do it for the top half of the 8th. It's going to be a no runs result of a 6 dot. And what an outing it was for Jason Hamill. We see the bullpen still going as the closer is sat down, and we're hoping to see a new pitcher for the Cubs when we get to the top half of the 9th. Your score is Cubs 8, White Sox 1. 344. Workman pitcher on Jennings. No. Sad sack on Hayward. He's not a sad sack. So therefore, that is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if control. Jennings does not have control, so that 3 is going to stay put. We'll put the runners on at first and second for Chris Bryant, as he will take his hacks off the men on base chart of a 33. Scrapper hits single. Bryant is not a scrapper, so therefore that is going to be a bases clearing triple, adding 2 more runs. The Cubs crack double digits. It's 10-1 now in favor of the Cubs, as we now go to Anthony Rizzo off the men on base chart. 44. Wild pitcher allows the walk. Dan Jennings is not wild. So therefore, it will be a flyout to end the first 8 innings here of this ball game. Your score is now Cubs 10, White Sox 1. We will take a quick timeout as we see a new pitcher for the Cubs trotting in for the pen down the left field line here at Wrigley Field. Timeout. And we're back at it as Travis Wood will be the new pitcher for the Cubs, as he has the tough task at hand to close things out for Game 2 of this Rivalry Night series to even it up at 1 game apiece, heading back crosstown to Guaranteed Rate Field for a winner-take-all matchup between the White Sox and the Cubs. It's Cubs 10, White Sox 1, as we head to the top half of the 9th. 566. Star pitcher? You bet. Travis Wood is a star. that is going to be a no runs result of a 5 blank. And that is going to do it, folks. The final score, no extras this time. The final score here at Wrigley, the Cubs win it by a final score to even the series, 10-1. Winner takes all. Man, oh man, this is what Rivalry Week was meant to be, so to speak. Welcome to Game 3 of this Rivalry Night series between the White Sox and the Cubs, as we are back at Guaranteed Rate Field for this winner-take-all matchup between the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago White Sox to kick off Crosstown Rivals Week, as we pay a little bit of tribute as we look to the weekend ahead for Rivalry Weekend IRL in Major League Baseball. With that being said, your starting pitching matchup for Game 3 is going to be as follows. Chris Sale will be on the mound for the White Sox, and he will be opposed by John Lackey. With that being said, both teams have won one game apiece. The winner of this game will win this Rivalry Night series. With that being said, the Cubs are ready to go. Zobrist is ready. Sale is ready. Let's get to it from Guaranteed Rate Field between the Cubs and the White Sox. We'll begin with a 1-4-4. Struggler pitcher on Sale. That's a negative. Satsack on Zobrist. No. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if control. Sale has double control, and that is going to be a no runs result of a 4 blank, and that is going to be the end of the top half of the first. The Cubs don't get anything, and the White Sox are coming to bat in the bottom half of the first inning. 3-3-4. 3-3-4. Here we are. Star pitcher on Lackey. He is a semi-star. However, the decider die says he's not. Utility batter on Tim Anderson. He is not. So therefore, that's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if control. Lackey has control, so that 3 will be reduced to a 2, putting the Anderson on at second base for Jose Abreu. And we will take his turn off the men on base chart of a 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. And again, I play it as for freshness throughout this entirety of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour as 3 full fresh, 3 semi-fresh. Since we're still in the freshness innings, Lackey will get the ground out to end things here in the first inning. After 1 inning of play, we have no score. 1-2-3. Workman or Struggler on Sale. No. Champion on Contreras. That is a negative. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 1 dot. And that is going to seal up the deal for the first 1.5 innings of play here at Guaranteed Rate Field. The score is still Cubs nothing and the White Sox nothing. 1-4-5. Ace or dynamic pitcher on Lackey. No. Satsack on Frazier. No. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. Lackey does have flash, so therefore that 4 will be reduced to a 3, putting the runners on at first and second for Melky Cabrera. And he will take his hacks off the men on base chart. Active bat with a 36. Active batter gets runners advance 2 bases single plus a stolen base. Melky Cabrera is a semi-stoic runner, so therefore it'll be a contact result. I usually roll the red die for this. We have a 1. Okay, so we need to look for a whiffer versus flash pitcher. Whiffer batter versus flash pitcher. It seems we only have flash, so therefore it will be an RBI for Melky Cabrera, and the White Sox take the early 1-0 lead over the Cubs here in Game 3 of this Rivalry Night series for Crosstown Rivals Week, for our first of many rivalry weeks here for the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. 356. Here we are. Workman pitcher on sale. That's a negative. Champion on Soler. No. That is going to be a no runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. Jorge Soler has home run king. The decider die was not used. So therefore, that is going to be hit high, far, and gone. Jorge Soler has just tied the game up at 1 apiece between the White Sox and the Cubs as we head to the bottom of the third, all dead even at 1 run apiece. Two, 3, 6. Here we are. Struggler or Gilded on Lackey? No. Sad Sack on Brett Laurie? No. That is going to be an RBI check. And guess what, folks? Brett Laurie is going to get that run right back as the White Sox lead it 2-1 over the Chicago Cubs here for this episode of Rivalry Night as part of our first of many rivalry weeks for the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. For this week, we are looking at Crosstown Rivals. 356. Workman pitcher on sale? No. Champion on Baez? No. That is going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Baez only has semi-slugger credited to his name, so therefore it will be a no runs result of a 5 dot, and that is going to do it for the first 3.5 innings of this game. The White Sox still lead the Cubs 2-1. 256. Workman pitcher on Lackey? No. Sad Sack on Garcia? No. That is going to be a men on base result, -1 for the black die if flash. And it looks like Lackey does have flash. So that 6 will go to a 5. Put in the runners on its second and third for J.B. Shuck, as we will roll for his move, or for his at bat off the men on base chart. 55, batting team dissonant or pitching team harmony. And again, we're treating every team as neutral for this inaugural season of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. So in this case, it will be a single. 2 runs are going to come across to score. As the runner on third scores, runner on second scores, it's 4-1 White Sox as we put the runner on at first base with a 2-run single, as we will bring up Alex Avila, the catcher for this contest. And it will be rolled off the men on base chart of a 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. We're in the semi-fresh innings, and the decider die says Lackey is not fresh. Whoa, that is going to be a single, plus with a chance to take him out of the game. So it'll be first and third, but do the Cubs try to leave Lackey in, as we do see the bullpen going out in deep right field here at Guaranteed Rate Field? I think the Cubs are going to keep Lackey in to hopefully settle things down here as Wilson Contreras tries to calm Lackey down here in this contest, as the White Sox still lead it 4-1 over the Chicago Cubs. 13, fresh relief pitcher gets the pop out. This time, Lackey, after a deep breath and a pep talk with Wilson Contreras, he will be fresh and he will therefore get the pop out to end the inning, but not before damage was done, as the White Sox add 2 more runs to make it 4-1 over the Cubs. "156. Ace pitcher for sale. No. Sad sack on Russell. He is the DH for this game today. For game 3, it seems Addison Russell does not have sad sack. So therefore, it'll be a men on base result, -1 for the black die if flash. Sale has flash. That 5 will be reduced to a 4. Runners at the corners for Dexter Fowler. We will roll off the men on base chart of a 55. Oh, wow. Batting team dissonant or pitching team harmony. And again, everybody is treated neutral. So it will be a single. 1 run is going to come across to score. Runner on first goes to third. It's still first and third for Jason Hayward. It's now White Sox 4, Cubs 2. 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. We're in the semi-fresh innings. Sale is not fresh. Oh my goodness, this is like a carbon copy of the last half inning, as the Cubs will get another run. It will still be first and third for Chris Bryant. Unbelievable. Now Alex Avila will go out to the mound to calm Chris Sale down. This is kind of like what the Cubs did. Or excuse me, this is kind of like what the White Sox did. This is like a carbon copy of the last half inning, but only this time, can the Cubs push through to cross more runs than the White Sox? We'll find out, as the manager is sticking with Sale to hopefully get out of this inning with little damage here. 44. Indeed, they will. Wild pitcher allows the walk. Chris Sale is not wild. Therefore, it will be a flyout. My goodness. Monkey see, monkey do action brings this game to within 1 run. The White Sox still lead it 4-3, as we see a new pitcher coming in from the bullpen for the Chicago Cubs. And while that new pitcher is taking up his warm-up tosses, we will take a very little quick timeout. And it seems Mike Montgomery will be the new pitcher for the Chicago Cubs, as he has the full-fledged use of star and flash qualities for his card for this outing. With that being said, for this at-bat against Tim Anderson, he will have the full extent use of the double flash quality to his credit. With that being said, the White Sox are hanging on by a dire thread as they lead it very closely 4-3 over the Cubs. Triple fours. Oh, this is going to be an umpire check, so we'll roll the blue die for this. It's a 3. Do we have a respected third base umpire? It seems we don't. So therefore, that is going to be a men on base result of a 4. That is going to put the runners at the corners once more for first and third. We're going to bring up Jose Abreu off the men on base chart. 46. Same reliever gets the strikeout. And again, when we're saying same, it's righty versus righty, lefty versus lefty. Since we have a lefty versus righty matchup, it will be a contact result. And I usually roll the red die for my contact chart results. We have a 5. Champion on Abreu. Abreu is not a champion, so therefore that's going to be a pop out to end the inning. And good job by the Cubs to bring in some reinforcements, as the bullpens from here on out is going to be it's going to be a bullpen game from here on out for both teams, as the manager goes over to Sale and shakes his hand on a fine job well done. But we'll have the bullpen take things from here as we head to the sixth inning. Your score is White Sox 4, Cubs 3. Timeout. Just like I mentioned before, it is a bullpen game from here on out as the White Sox will bring in Nate Jones as he has the semi-ace, flash, and control qualities. The full flash and full control qualities. But for this at bat against Anthony Rizzo, Nate Jones will have the full extent use of getting an extra ace quality. So it will be the full ace quality for this at bat against Anthony Rizzo. The score as we head to the sixth is White Sox 4, Cubs 3. 3-3-6. Workman on Jones. No. Sad sack on Rizzo. No way. That is going to be an RBI check, and the decider die says no. So therefore, the score remains the same as we head to the bottom of the sixth with a no runs result of 6. And that is going to bring us to the bottom of the inning. The score is White Sox 4, Cubs 3. 3-4-5, star pitcher on Montgomery. He is a star, so therefore that is going to be a no runs result of a 4 blank, and that is going to be all she wrote for this one. And we will move on to the seventh inning here at Guaranteed Rate Field. The score is White Sox 4, Cubs 3. One, 4-4. Struggler on Jones. No. 1-4-4. Here we are. Sad sack on Zobrist. No. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if control. Jones does have control. So that one will be reduced to a big fat goose egg. And it will be a no runs result of a 4 blank. And we head to the stretch here at the ballpark with the score White Sox 4, Cubs 3. One, 4-5. Ace or dynamic pitcher on Montgomery. That is a negative. Sat sack on Melky Cabrera. No. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. Mike Montgomery does have flash. So that 5 will be reduced to a 4. Put in the runners at the corners for Brett Lawrie. And we will have his turn off the men on base chart of a 56. Patient batter draws the walk. Brett Lawrie is not patient, so therefore it will be a contact result. Come on, we need a big one here. 4. Champ or hero? Oh, Lawrie is neither a champ, neither is he a hero. So therefore, that is going to be a ground out to end the seventh inning here at Guaranteed Rate Field. The score is White Sox 4, Cubs 3. 1-6-6 to begin the eighth inning here. Ace pitcher for Jones. He is a semi-ace. The decider die says he is. That is going to be a no runs result of a 1. And that is going to do it for the top half of the eighth. Your score is still 4-3 in favor of the Chicago White Sox. One, 4-5. Ace or dynamic pitcher for Montgomery? No. Sad sack on Avi Garcia? No. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. Montgomery has flash. That 4 will be reduced to a 3. We're going to play it safe still. First and second for J.B. Shuck. We'll have his turn off the men on base chart. Oh my goodness, a 15. Scrapper hits double. Unfortunately, J.B. Shuck does not have Scrapper. That is going to be probably the nail in the coffin, folks. That one is hit high, hit far. You can put it on the board. Yes. The White Sox, courtesy of Javy Baez, hit a 3-run home run, and that is probably going to seal the deal for the White Sox and the series for them. The score as we head to the ninth is White Sox 7, Cubs 3. 3-4-5. Star pitcher on Jones. No. Sat sack on Soler. No. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash or control. Nate Jones has both flash and control, so that 3 will be reduced to a 1, putting the runner on at first for Javy Baez. We will take his turn off the men on base chart of a 55. Oh my goodness, batting team to Sonnet or pitching team harmony. Again, every team throughout this inaugural season is neutral, so therefore it will be a single, and it will be runners at the corners for Addison Russell. This could bring the game within 1 run, folks. Oh my goodness. Let's see. 16, good eye. Unfortunately, Addison Russell does not have good eye. It will be a strikeout, and that is going to be the ball game. The final score here for Game 3 of this Rivalry Night series. The White Sox take the series over the Cubs 2-1, but they win. But the White Sox win Game 3 7-3. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode of Rivalry Night as we featured our first rivalry of this rivalry week in the 2016 Chicago White Sox and the Chicago Cubs. But never fear, let's see what's coming up next time here on the History Maker. Whoa. Did you guys feel that? I think we are going to be revisiting the 1989 World Series as, oh my goodness. Dude, I think we're feeling the earthquake here. But again, we will review this earthquake, the earthquake that almost stopped the World Series as we revisit the 1989 World Series in the Oakland Athletics and the San Francisco Giants on the latest edition of World Series Rewind. Who will come out on top of this earthquakian matchup? I guess you're going to have to tune in to find out next time here on the History Maker Baseball Express Hour, if we can even make it. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour that was being played with History Maker Baseball Express. We look forward to bringing you more matchups of Rivalry Night, World Series Rewind, Cross-Era Showdown, and a blast from the past as we revisit some classic and memorable games from Major League Baseball throughout the 2026 Major League Baseball regular season.